Here's what we're going to be covering today. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Schabell, JBoss Technology Evangelist, covering the BRMS and JBoss BPM Suite, integration of BPM team. You've been hearing from some of my colleagues already this morning. I previously did a small introduction to OpenShift, and it kind of flows nicely into this one. This is one I also did at Summit this year in San Francisco, called the JBoss Cloud Guide to All Things xPaaS. So what exactly are we talking about with xPaaS? People look at xPaaS and they're kind of wondering what the X is all about. That's kind of a placeholder for application platform as a service, mobile platform as a service, integration platform as a service, and business process management as a service. Basically, what we're talking about is the platform as a service story that evolved out of the OpenShift infrastructure. And then we're going to leverage that a little bit farther, right? Try to come up with services that are a unifying platform that allows us to build, deploy, provision, as you can read there. I don't need to read this to you. Along the lines of the various JBoss middleware that we have to offer in our product set. Right now, what you're seeing in the xPaaS and what I'm going to be talking about, I'd like to be really clear about it. It's not something that is a paid service yet. It's leveraging sort of alpha cartridges, we call it. They're being exposed to the public for the use of anybody that's interested for evaluation purposes, to generate some feedback and to get a feel for what's working and what isn't, and moving this stuff in the right direction. So in the spirit of open source, it's a release early, release often, and try to get it out there and expose the world to what we're trying to achieve. So you're going to see more flushing out of the various cartridges and the various platforms as a service under xPaaS as we move forward. While some of them are relatively mature right now, some of them are very new and growing daily or as we speak. Before we go any farther, there is a chat window here where you can ask questions. I won't be jumping back and forth to check them that much, but I will at the end. So feel free to put your question in at any time. And when I happen to hit it, I'll make sure to cover that. Okay, the first part of the xPaaS we'll be talking about is something that everybody's probably really familiar with and never really considered as a platform as a service, is the JBoss EAP platform, so the Enterprise Application Platform. Been going around and developing for quite a few years now, cloud ready, a lot of service-oriented components that fit nicely into the platform as a service concept. Completely optimized for the virtualized environments, cloud environments, multi-core. The steps in the last years and the several iterations that they've done that have reduced the memory footprint and the startup times drastically have made it really, really easy and accessible in a cloud environment. If you think back to the days when you would be using one of our competitors' tools, and I remember personally with the older JBoss 4-point-somethings when I used to be working in an enterprise, and you'd reboot those things to reload something, and you'd go get a cup of coffee and come back minutes later, 4 to 5, 6 minutes later before something came back up. It was nice for the brainstorm sessions at the coffee machine, but it's not really handy when you're using cloud sessions and things like that far away. The latency should be the network and nothing to do with the platform itself. You see here in the bottom right corner, if we go to there's links at the end of the page, but if you go to the OpenShift xPaaS page, you'll see a walk through basically the same infrastructure I'm talking about, and each one includes one of these little links here. And the one that says deploy now, so when you hit that, it's basically going to spin up an APaaS cartridge for you out of the box. You're going to get a JBoss EAP6 instance in the cloud, ready to go to develop your JEE applications. When we look a little bit deeper into that kind of stuff, it's able to host a myriad, huge diversification on applications and possibilities. It's end-to-end JEE. We have integration with the cloud instance in your IDE. If you look at the JBoss Developer Studio, you can have a server tab with an instance of JBoss in the cloud that you don't even know the difference. It looks just like you have a local JBoss EAP installation. If you include things like the Jenkins cartridge for continuous integration of your application, you basically are setting up an end-to-end JEE tooling tool set that's going to deploy, test, deploy to production all in one go. You also have the ability to do scaling deployments. So in the case of deploying some web application out there, and you're able to scale up your instances based on web traffic. So if you're getting a lot of hits to a website that you've got deployed on your JBoss EAP and it's getting really active, it'll throw more cartridges at it and give you more resources automatically. A couple of examples I put up here show you things you can leverage in the cloud. The first one is the business optimizer, which is around the tech preview piece that's provided with the JBoss BRMS and BPM Suite, the planning and resource optimizing tooling that we have in the JBoss infrastructure. And the second one is a mobile conference application. See a couple of screenshots there from the mobile telephone, where you can register yourself for Jack's London conference in this case. It really doesn't matter what you're running as long as it runs on the JEE, JBoss EAP platform. Whether you're running it locally or in the cloud shouldn't make a difference. And we move right along to the integration platform as a service. Now this spans a couple of things, but the first one we start with is the JBoss Fuse 6 release has been integrated in this. You have integration services that are available in on-premise or in the cloud now. There's a cloud-based interface, allows you to configure your integration routes and transformations, dealing with your containers in the cloud or not in the cloud endpoints, reliable messaging hosted on cloud or on-premise, and all these kind of things based on the JBoss AMQ product. You see and start hearing a consistent message coming out where it doesn't matter whether it's locally in the cloud. When people start looking closer at things like scaling out and using OpenShift Enterprise, you can envision an enterprise that has resources on site that have been set up inside of the OpenShift infrastructure. So the way of working, the developers are deploying and doing their thing, and when it goes into production, should you have some kind of load spike, you can see it scaling out into the cloud and creating more instances to back that up, whether they be local resources or eventually scaling and cloud bursting out into the, for example, Amazon infrastructure or whatever infrastructure that you would have backing up your own resources. That's kind of the idea behind that. You see here the Fuse cartridge. There's an overview that can be found under the xPaaS infrastructure there on OpenShift, the website, and you see the box there with the deployed now. So if you click that button, it'll take you straight into an iPaaS deployment, allowing you to log into the console and start deploying and managing your infrastructure as a service. There's a few quick starts in there you can look at. I spun one up on integration in the cloud. You can log in on your own would be the better way to do it, and try to play with mine, because if you all run over there and play with mine, you might end up not being able to log in. It's not set up to be run by 50,000 people at once. It's just the free instance I have set up there. But the Fuse deploy now button with your own account, and it'll spin it all up for you and provide the logins and the passwords, and you can check it out. Within the Dev Nation this year at San Francisco, I didn't go into too much detail about demoing this in this session, because there's a very extensive introduction and live demo that was done, and I believe recorded for Jack Britton and Kenny Peoples, colleagues of mine. If you look up that session, you'll be able to see all the details in the slides about that. So I'll leave that to them. I did do a few screenshots of what it looks like. After you've spun it up, you see in the upper left-hand corner the management console for Fuse. You're given an admin and a password that you need to make sure you note and log in with. And you see here a dashboard overview, and what I did was let it run a while so it filled up some of the charts with some interesting CPU stuff. But this allows you to manage your various containers and what you're doing there. A second half of the integration as a service also involves data integration. So our data virtualization 6 has also been spun into a cartridge for this. That was released not too long ago. You see at the bottom there, you can also now hit a button and get your own data virtualization cartridge spun up with one go. To give a look at the iPaaS in that direction. You see the overview link there to give you a little idea of what is available to you. And if you look at the quick starts there, it'll walk you through getting started with that stuff. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Again, Kenny's also doing a data virtualization one later, and I believe later in this conference. So if you want to look that one up, you can go check it. One of the youngest members of the xPaaS is the mobile pass. It's being worked on as we speak. Should be coming out in more and more completed form over the next few months. It's based on the AeroGear project, which is a JBoss community project, and it's a cloud-enabled unified push server. And what that means is that you want to set up in the cloud some kind of server that allows you to push information to all the registered mobile devices or devices in your including in your infrastructure. So if you have an example of would be last time I was in the States, they had some severe weather warnings that would come across the mobile phones, even when the screen was locked, for example. Well, if you could set that up and be allowed to use that interface, you'd be able to push information from your weather reports out to phones to warn people about areas that are in danger of having, for example, tornadoes or flooding or whatever. One example use case for that. The data encryption it provides secure communication between devices and also allows data synchronization for offline usage. And again, there's another unified push server deploy now button that'll get you straight into the mobile pass. And right now, when you log in, it provides you with a login that you need to note, and you see a unified push server dashboard where you can register some devices. There wasn't much more available at the time. You see it's 0.10 release at this time, or a couple of months ago. So please, if you're interested in that, keep watching that area for more news. There is a quick start tied to the AeroGear project itself. Allows you to spin up something really quickly and start playing with it a little bit. So go ahead and take a look at that if you're interested. That's something a little bit more in line with what you might want to do with the mobile application infrastructure. Moving right along, we get into the area that I find the most interesting, funny enough. We have the BPM Pass. This is the newest member, released just a couple of months ago, and it is a BPM Suite 6, cloud-based process modeling, cloud-based BAM, so business activity monitoring. Everything you can do locally with the BPM Suite, you can now also do in the cloud. What's nice is that you can get analysts started up on process automation faster and cheaper. So the idea being that they don't have to buy, install, or host BPM Suite components on site. There's a push to look at and to feel out and decide what we're going to do with maybe providing this as a service in the cloud. So imagine logging into the OpenShift and being able to buy subscription to and be able to design, run, and deploy and deal with all this stuff based on the web-based tooling inside of this product. Let's see. We look here at the overview page. You see there's an overview. There's some quick starts tied into that OpenShift explanation. There's also a button that you can get started with, and we can go over here and take a quick look at that now as one of our first examples. You go over here and you can see here that you have online origin and you have the xPaaS stuff. So if you're interested in this, you want to learn more. We're talking about integration, data, process management, all that stuff. You see the same story that I kind of walked you through, the enterprise, the APaaS, the integration PaaS with Fuse and data virtualization, business process management, and the mobile stuff. Now say we want to go deploy this now. He's going to see, take me straight into my account that I already have here online. You see here, I'm logged in already, and you get the standard starting up story here with creating a new application. I already have a domain created here. I'll go back and show you if we keep it this way. You can go over here, and you see I have all my applications as a user. If I do add application, excuse me, you see here in the featured section, there's a whole lot of stuff you can do, but in the featured section, here's the BPM process. You click on this, we're back at the same location I was just at. So what this will do is this will install give it a name, we'll call it PaaS, not Pass the Football, APEC. And you do need to have medium gears. And you saw if we look at my thing, you saw 16 gears. If you're a Red Hat employee, it's possible to take your JBoss account and get it extended to the bronze level. It gives you 16 instances and also access to these medium gears. If you're a non-IBM or non-Red Hatter, then you need to put in a credit card, I believe, and you have to achieve or sign up for the bronze level. That'll give you the medium gears. We don't need scaling, and it's pointing to the setup of this. And this can take anywhere from, yeah, it kind of depends. I explained this last time at my OpenShift talk. This is based on the free hosting, so I'm using the OpenShift Origin community version of this. I'm not using an enterprise version. So I have no choice in where this is hosted. So all hosting for the OpenShift Origin cartridges that I want to create for free is on the East Coast of the United States of America, so North America. Since I'm unable to get it any closer to me, I'm limited in the time and the bandwidth and whatever. So that's what I have to deal with, the traffic going to the East Coast based on my location, which happens to be in Europe. And this could be better or worse in Asia, or it just depends upon the time of day when people are waking up and when they're busy, or is it in the middle of the night there? And this is a rather large installation. It's installing EAP, and it's also installing Business Process Management Suite, and it's going to install a mortgage demo out of the box. So you log in, everything's ready to go with the demo project installed. Generally speaking, it's taking me roughly up to 4 minutes. So I'm going to continue on a little bit talking with the slides, and we'll come back over here, and it should be created if all goes well. Back to the slides. A second thing I wanted to show you is, so that will give you the mortgage demo. Basically, if you have any interest in the demos for the BPM suite, that could be your first one. The second thing I'm going to show you is creating a BPM installation with a generic loan demo. So it's 2 demos you could have running in the cloud when we get done here. So if we go over to my GitHub account, take a look here in the repositories, there's a, right there, the loan demo. And if you scroll down a little bit, this is going to show you exactly how to set this up in the exact same way that you just saw the other one. So we're going to get a BPM Pass with a pre-installed generic loan demo. You can do this by using the code anything field. So when we create a cartridge, and that's what I'm going to demo for you, that one. Cut and paste the link. So we'll copy the link. You can also do this from the command line using this information down here. And this will give us this demo. Go over to I'll do a second one at the time, so I'll try to overload their data center. Not possible. You can see I've used 11 of 16. Application. And instead of picking the Fuse or the business process management one, I'm going to go down here all the way to the bottom, and you see a code anything. I'm going to paste in that file. So what I'm doing is I'm pointing to this cartridge setup here. And if you're interested in cartridges or know anything about that, you can see how I do that. Basically, copy over and install exactly what's happening in the other window. Did this in APEC before. Generic loan. Red Hat Cloud. Yeah. It's all this. And again, this one's going to take a bit. Here, he's still churning along, trying to get this done. So, oh, there we go. He's done. So this is the mortgage one. And over here, you see the generic loan one continuing on. So this xPaaS has been installed, this BPM Pass cartridge. We're going to use the BPM Admin, and I'm going to need to write down this password. So what I tend to do is take a screenshot of this, just to save this. You hear the click, so it's somewhere on my desk in case I forget it. So I'm just going to cut and paste the password. Remember the BPM Admin. If you go down here, it tells you the details. You can clone it, but for the BPM Pass, it really doesn't have any effect to clone the cartridge. You're going to get a clone of the BPM installation, and it's not something that builds your BPM project from scratch like a developer code base. You're going to want to work through the BPM Suite's Business Central console. It's targeting that user, not targeting the user of JBoss Developer Studio or command line to uploading your code. You can do that to look at it, but it's not the way to work with this. Go to the application overview. You see what it is. We have a gigabyte. It's a medium gear. It's started. We can add extra stuff. We don't need to do any of that. We're interested in going over and looking at the cartridge itself. As you see here, we have here the BPM Pass APEC in the Red Hat Cloud. A couple of links. You can go straight to the Dash Builder if you want, or the Business Central, which is what we're going to do. And then we need to use and paste in that funky password we got. And if you're looking at this and have ever seen the JBoss BPM suite before, we're looking at exactly the product as if I installed it locally. So it's really handy to have these demos in the cloud ready to show to anybody that you're interested in showing this stuff to, should you need that for your daily work. This again, your browser will do that. Shrink this down a bit. That's what the product looks like. We go to the administration stuff. You can see that he's preloaded the mortgage demo. And if we go to the authoring side, kick this here. We need to open this up. Into the packaging. Down into our code base, where mortgage is at. And you see he opens up various components. Go examine this process, and he'll open the web-based process designer. This is a fully functioning demo, so you can launch instances and run through all this stuff. And that's not the focus of this talk, so I just wanted to show you, looking at this stuff in the cloud, you see it loading up. Here you go. Here's a demo you could take with you on the road and use anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection, and maybe double check your speed from where you're at in your location. Same thing on this side. You see here that this one started up, and this one is one of my demos, so it continues to use the same AeroGear BPM suite. And you do the overview, just like we did before. Here's the clone one. We go in there, we can log in. And now we suite, sign in. Don't remember that. You'll notice a little bit of difference between the two. Over here, you have the one that's directly taken from the packages that are made available on the customer support portal. So we have here the business process that's very plain looking, and you notice when I logged in and went to the authoring, product authoring, it wasn't all set up to pop up with this already displayed. I kind of had to go down into it. It's like a fresh import. I put together stuff on this side that with my demos that it's already preloaded. It's also ready to open up inside of the authoring perspective. Whoops, it's down a bit. The authoring, you see it's already set up like it used to locally for my demos, and it opens up with the nice stuff set up on the left side, all the artifacts, and you see that it's going to automatically kick into the actual colorized pretty process. A little bit more user-friendly, I think, for demoing and stuff, a little bit more flashy. Nicer to have it that way. So again, to review, what you now have seen is two BPM Pass installations. Your integration passes, your mobile pass, and your application pass all work exactly the same way. Finish loading here. There you go. Here you see the generic loan demo, and there it is. Things nice and pretty. So if we go back right quickly, go down here to the xPaaS, and we can do the enterprise application deploy now. Do a small one. You see here that says it's going to cost you additional so much per hour, because we're now talking about after the first 3 gears. The first 3 gears are free on the bronze and silver plans. You have to pay for the subscription, so it's automatically factored into this. Now it's going to spin that up, and you notice here we've done the exact same steps we just did with the other one. It's kind of all tied together in the same workflow, which makes this a really easy experience. It doesn't matter what you're trying to get together, it all works in the same workflow. In this case, when we set up an EAP instance like this, it makes much more sense to clone this project down for a developer. So the Git repository that's provided, we can clone. I can show you what that looks like in a second when this gets spun up. And a little bit again. This has got again to do with the distance we're covering. Also, I wanted to mention that there's some BRMS and BPM Suite Labs that I put together. You can find them. They start on the workshops on the Red Hat Cloud, so they're hosted on the cloud. That one's completed. I've been releasing them for about 15 weeks now, 16 weeks, something like that. Once a week, I've been releasing a step along the way. And the first one involves a business rules management system demo called the Cool Store demo. It's a retail web shopping cart that is rule-based and has a bunch of rules and decision tables and stuff like that, rule flows to walk you through shopping in an online web shop. And you're going to build that thing from scratch in that workshop. So that's a really great introduction, step by step with screenshots. If you have any problems with any of the steps, please contact me. Inside each blog post that I put up about that on my website at schabell.org, and you can also find those linked from the product pages and also on howtojboss.com, and you'll find them in the planetjboss.org feed. Please follow that. That feed pretty much ties it all together. You'll find in the blog post the links to how to get a hold of me. I get feedback occasionally that somebody doesn't understand something. Apparently I didn't make it clear enough, so I do my best to go back and extend the lab as much as I can so that everybody can get through it. It does not require developer knowledge and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's step by step and walks you through and shows you with all the screenshots how it works. And even has some videos linked to pieces if needed. The BPM workshop is currently running. I think we're 3 steps into that right now, 3 weeks. We're building an HR employee award evaluation process. Feel free to join that one too. It links through from the first one, but if you want to start just with the BPM Suite one, it's at the BPM workshop on the Red Hat Cloud. Let's see what else we got here. Something. Got a little bit off course. There's the links at the end here. These point you to the different articles and demos that you've seen here. Some also extra stuff. Almost all this stuff runs also in the xPaaS area. I included the openshift.com/xPaaS overview page. And the 2 demos you're looking at right now are also provided inside the demo projects there. I can see what, here's the status of this one. So here you see the AePaaS. And what we want to do is we're going to say, okay, now we want to actually add our application, right? So we're going to download this. What he's doing here is he's going to clone the existing instance. So this is a developer workflow. It's using Git. See here that we have nothing more than JBoss EAP, cloud instance here. So everything I want to do will be found in the source directory. That POM file will make sure that when I do a Maven clean install, I'll do a build on the projects that's in there, pulling down all the Maven stuff I don't have yet. And he does a build and he deploys it into that deployments directory. So you could start adding your application source code into the source directory. You can start from scratch and bring over what you have. It's also possible just to copy a WAR file over and drop it into the deploys directory. That'll work too. Kind of depends on how long it takes to download the various bits and pieces. But you get the idea. When you're done building this stuff, you can, and anytime I do a push with the cloud, then you want to look at the application overview page. We can make a change to that in a minute and watch what happens. So here you go. We're on the JBoss APEC in the cloud. You see here, welcome to EAP application. It's got a lot of information here on how to work with it, how to deploy some stuff, how this ties into the JBoss Developer Studio, command line tools, how to do that, the web console, which we're looking at, how to manage stuff. Okay, we're done here. Source directory. And here, let's go down here. Here's the page we're looking at. So welcome to your EAP. So we're going to come to shift. Out of the way here. So I'm just committing our changes. It's experience you're looking at now. So now what you're saying is he's taking the change I just did, he's pushing it up into the cloud, and he's going to stop the instance. He's going to rebuild everything I just did and redeploy it. And once that's all done, when we jump over here, we should see a change in this line. Right? And that's the workflow that you have on the application platform side. I'm going to take a quick look while he's also, the first time you do a build, it's got to download all the dependencies upstream, which you just did downstream. So we'll take a quick look over here, see if there's any questions. He asked me any questions or have any questions so far. As far as I can see, nothing. So we'll give this a bit of a go. Didn't take too long. There it goes. So now it's built it. Now he's deploying it. You see him restarting the cartridge upstream. He's restarting our JBoss EAP instance. Now it's really good that it has a quick restart. Would not be possible if it took 3-4 minutes of timeouts across your network all the time. If you reload this, it'll come up with the. There it is. We just did a round tripping, and this is how somebody would be working on the AePaaS. So, oops, wrong. I'm always. So we've looked at the application, the fusion and data virtualization. I'm going to leave for that other session because they do a very extensive demo inside there. We've seen the business process management. The only one we haven't looked at is the unified push server. I'm going to leave that as homework for you. This is stuff that goes just like all the rest. Deploy now, add it to your list of stuff, and away you go. Okay, there's done. That's what it looks like. So are there any questions? We've shown you two different setups for BPM Pass. As an SA in the field or one of our partners, if you set these up, you will have the ability to demo the BPM suite anytime, anywhere in the cloud and play with it and develop your application should you so choose. Remember, it is an alpha setup, so should anything go wrong or whatever, please give us feedback on that. We're working on improving that experience every time somebody provides some input. The ones that I have, like the generic loan, have very simple setup, and you can read me there at the bottom. And if there are no questions, I'll give you guys a chance to, anybody have any questions to submit? So far, I see nothing. Okay. If you have anything later that you come up with or think of any questions or having any issues getting any of this stuff spun up or test driving any of the xPaaS stuff, please feel free to give me a ping. You can find a lot of information about this on my Twitter feed, on the website listed there, and you can contact me at erics@redhat.com. More than willing to help you guys. So I'll go ahead and cut you loose. It's a little bit early, but give you a chance to get a long potty break and get a cup of coffee for the next session. Thank you.